Hello and welcome to 50 Movies in 50 Weeks. I'm your host Joey Hollywood and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in this Mill Creek box set in 50 weeks. Before we start talking about the movie that is this week's showcase, I spent the last two videos, the wrap-up for last year and the introduction for this year, complaining about my neighbors. And I have some excellent news about that. I was just notified that they just put in notice to move. So in about a month, I won't have to worry about the hammering or whatever they're doing over there, and I can actually record when I want to record my videos and not do it in the middle of the day like a weirdo. I guess it's not a weird thing to do, but I personally don't like recording in the middle of the day like this. But without further ado, let's talk about the movie that we watched this week. Let me just get out my handy dandy notes. The movie I watched today was called Alien Contamination from 1981. The moment I saw the title of this, I was like, I think I've seen this movie. Title's like vague enough that it could be anything. I've seen so many movies in my lifetime, it's very possible that I've seen it, or if I haven't seen it, I could have just gaslit myself into thinking I've seen it. But as the movie started, it was very, very familiar, and I actually realized what I knew it from. I used to love this channel called Water Cooler Films. And they did this like Halloween thing every year. And one of the movies they did on that show was this one. I think it was just called Contamination, because this apparently has a bunch of alternate titles. And for some reason, Water Cooler Films' short review of this movie has stuck with me for almost a decade. For some reason, I don't know why, but I recognize this movie because of Water Cooler Films, and I knew exactly where I saw it from. I was like, oh yeah, it's Chuck's show, 31 horror movies in 31 days or whatever. Actually, I think that was mine. I did a Halloween thing too, and I blatantly ripped him off. I guess you can't really rip it off. Everyone does a Halloween thing like that. But he was the inspiration for it. But when it opened up with the Canon logo. So I'm like, okay, we're probably in for a good time here. And as the movie was going on, I kept feeling like I was like, is this an American movie or is this an Italian movie? It's apparently an American movie, but it has an Italian director. And the reason why I suspected that it was Italian was because people were talking and they were dubbed over in the exact language that they were speaking. Which maybe you could crop that up to bad ADR. But when I see that, my Italian senses start tingling, and I go, okay, is this an Italian movie? And during the credits or after the credits or whatever, you move into like stock footage shots of New York City in a helicopter, and it keeps cutting to the people inside the helicopter, and you can totally tell that the helicopter's like sitting on the ground, and they're like filming up and like shaking the camera. It's very quaint. I'm not going to knock points against the movie for doing that. I think, it works. Sometimes it works. I don't think it works so much here, but it's fine. And there's this big ship that pulls in the port, and it's like a ghost ship. It's like empty. There's a lot of weird things about it. And they go in there, and there's like these eggs everywhere, these like alien looking eggs. And when they explode and their goo gets on you, you explode too. It's very evident that this was inspired by the xenomorphs from Alien, but the logic of everything wasn't quite thought through, which is another point into me thinking it was an Italian film. Everything was just an excuse to just be gross and big and bombastic. There's a scene where they extract some of the goo from these eggs and they inject it into a rat, and the rat explodes. Like, nothing makes sense about the biology of whatever this is, these eggs. But they say that the stuff inside the eggs is silicon-based. It's a silicon-based life form. And me being the nerd I am, the moment I hear silicon-based life form, I'm thinking, oh, like the creature from Devil in the Dark, that episode of Star Trek. That's where my mind goes. There's plenty of like just weird moments in this. Not just the gross out gore stuff, but also just little character moments, the things people say to one another. There's a part where these two people kiss and their eyes are just open the whole time, and it's very weird looking. I will say that for a low budget movie, it does not stay like central. Like when the movie first started and we were on the boat and the eggs were making people explode, I thought, okay, that's this movie. We're going to be on this boat. It's going to be like Alien, but on a boat. It was not like that at all. This movie kind of goes all over the place. It goes from New York to I think they're in like some sort of, I think they're in Cuba. I can't remember where they are exactly, but they go to like a more jungle, like a tropical environment, and then they eventually go into like these like not catacombs, like an underground facility, like a laboratory. So there's constant like variation throughout the movie. Actually, you know, I think it was Colombia, not Cuba. Whatever. It doesn't matter. The movie eventually ends in like an underground facility. And that's when it really takes on the more alien, the xenomorph influence. There's giant rubber monsters. The whole ending of this movie is pretty wild. Yeah, but like it suddenly becomes a whole different kind of monster movie near the end with just giant rubber monsters. And a lot of it's really, really cool. And I was enjoying the movie enough where I was like, I wonder if there is a better version of it out there, and sure enough there is. Arrow Video has released a high definition version of this, and apparently the version I watched on this box set is censored. I don't know what it's censoring because the gore in this is pretty wild, but there is an uncensored version of this released from Arrow Video. And I think it was a good time. It was a great way to start off the year. We didn't start off with something boring, and I don't know. I liked this one. It's very likely I will watch it again under some context, and I think that's it for now. I'll see you next week. Remember, please be kind and rewind.